Oh boy, this is the kind of article that really gets people angry. What's up everybody, today I'm here to talk about Black Panther and the Dark Knight. Now, today I ran into an article that has a very inflammatory title. It says Black Panther deserves a Best Picture Oscar nomination. The Dark Knight didn't. The first person that came to my mind when I read this was Jeremy from the Geeks and Gamers, because I know that he loves The Dark Knight. Even though I know he likes Black Panther as well, I'm pretty sure that this is the kind of article that would make him yell at the screen, like, what? And not only him, but a lot of people that are fans of the movie. Now, I have to completely disagree with this statement over here. Even though I loved Black Panther, I know that a lot of people think Black Panther is overrated, but to say that Black Panther deserved the nomination, the Dark Knight didn't, it's not right. It's definitely not right. The Dark Knight came out 11 years ago, and at the time everyone was shocked that it was completely snubbed at the Oscars because it was just such a great film. It's, to me, is a masterpiece of filmmaking. You know, you have incredible acting, you have awesome score, you have a really compelling story. There's just so many reasons why that movie works. The other thing that I think it worked so much is because you have an incredible villain. And we all know that the hero is only as good as its villain. And, you know, we all know that the Joker is a psychopath, he's manipulative, and he knows how to use and how to play on Batman's weakness, which is his moral code. And that's exactly why he's not scared of him. And that's why the Joker wants Batman to kill him, because if he does that, he will completely go against his own moral code. That relationship is just fascinating, and oh my God, The Dark Knight is without a doubt an incredible film. In my opinion, it definitely deserved an Oscar nomination. Black Panther, on the other hand, it was one of my favorite films of 2018, and I'll give you the reasons why. First of all, I love African culture, and I think it shows beautifully in the film. I love the costumes, the fighting, the choreography, even their accent, the way they talk. I love the characters and their development throughout the film. I think Killmonger, which is the villain or anti-hero, has a lot of layers, which I thought it was pretty great because it kind of makes you sympathize with the guy, and at the same time you understand why he became a villain. I love Okoye. I think that she's such a cool fighter. And Black Panther, he's such he's a true hero, you know, that guy that really wants to do good by his people. So I have no problem with this nomination whatsoever, but I do have a problem if people say that Black Panther deserved the nomination, Dark Knight didn't, because I believe that that's completely unfair. Again, because the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight was the movie that set the bar high for all these superhero films. And you can even argue that Zack Snyder was influenced by Christopher Nolan. That's why he began the DC universe so dark, but that's a subject for another film. But let's talk a little bit about the Oscars. So I believe there's a couple of reasons why Black Panther got nominated. First of all, we know that the Oscars, they changed the category for Best Picture from 5 nominees to 10. And the reason why they did that perhaps is to include this kind of big films, because the problem is that if you haven't really been following the news for the past couple of years, no one is watching the Oscars anymore, and they're losing audience, and that's a no-no. They need audience, because otherwise they won't be able to air the show anymore. A way for them to have people actually watch the show is to include these big movies that everyone saw. I believe that the reason why the Oscars lost a lot of popularity among audiences, it's for 2 reasons. First reason is because a lot of the films that are popular amongst the general audience is never indicated, so why would you even care to watch? And second, it's because it has become incredibly political. Now all the actors are taking the stage to again talk about politics, and people are kind of getting sick about it, and that's exactly why I don't like politics or even talking about politics, because left and right are never going to see common ground. That's why I hate talking about it. But we can all agree, even if you're a person like me that you don't like talking politics, that politics has really been very much present in every single franchises and movies of lately, and people are just getting sick of it. Now it's no longer about character development or a good story. Now it's about politics and gender, and you know, we see that with Ghostbusters, we see that with The Last Jedi as well. You know, forget about the Force, because the Force now is a joke. I mean, we could go on and on and on. People are just sick of seeing politics in the shows, they're sick of seeing politics in films, and like I said, politics itself is something that it's always going to be controversial. It's something that is always going to create debate and fight. So I guess that people are just so sick of all of this, they're just no longer interested in watching these shows. And now the Oscars, they're kind of trying to find a way to rescue the audience again and have them tune in and watch these shows. And I believe that's why they nominated Black Panther, even though, like I said, I love the movie. I think the movie is great. Now if you read this article, this person is saying that Black Panther deserves the nomination for political reasons, and I have to disagree, because again, the Oscars should not be about politics. It should be about the quality of the film, and that's exactly why I completely disagree. Even though myself, I love the film, I thought it's a great film, I don't care about the nomination. It's great that it's nominations. My problem is not with the nomination itself. My problem is the fact that it's saying that it deserves the nomination for political reasons, but The Dark Knight doesn't. I mean, since when the Oscars is supposed to be about politics to begin with? They should be about celebrating the art form of film, right? But again, guys, we live in a time that is no longer about that, and that's exactly why this guy is saying Black Panther deserves this and that Dark Knight didn't, which is definitely a terrible thing to say. You know, I could go on and on and on of how many reasons why The Dark Knight definitely deserved not only a nomination but an Oscar as a Best Picture for sure. Because again, I watch film and entertainment because I love filmmaking. I went to school for film. I love these things. But to me, it's very sad to see all these politics and these narratives kind of taking over, and it's no longer about a good movie or about a good storytelling anymore. It's about a certain representation. That's more important than everything else. But like I said, I think this is kind of sad. These award shows are no longer about celebrating the art form of filmmaking. It is about celebrating political agendas and all these things that it kind of again takes the fun out of everything, you know. And this is coming from a person, like I said, that loved Black Panther, and I loved The Dark Knight. Again, I will say one more time, I have no problem with the nomination, but to tell me that the Black Panther deserved the nomination, Dark Knight didn't, it's just terrible. It's definitely not a true statement, because The Dark Knight is and will always be one of the best superhero films ever made. But anyways, guys, that is my viewpoint on all this controversy over here. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your comment below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!